Good evening. Welcome on Monday night. It is Teal Time with Ray or CT Jags. Alongside of me is, well, not alongside of me, but my co-host is here, Bo Knows. Say hello today.
What's up, Jag fans?
And tonight we got a lot of, discussions going on. We're going to talk about Blackmon's rehab. We're going to talk about Babin being cut, and we're going to talk about minicamp. As a matter of fact, let's lead with Bo. Why don't you tell everybody about what's going on with minicamp and what you've seen?
Oh, what I saw when I was out there, it was a real hot day, real freaking hot. But I saw Alan Hearns getting a lot of first-team reps to wide receivers, which is big. I think it's big for a young guy like him. I saw the quarterback. Henny was head and shoulders the best quarterback out there. And Toby Gearhart is a freaking Mack truck. That dude is huge.
Yeah, but even a Mack truck, does he have the speed to go with the size?
He did in college.
Well, that's good, back in, college, he had a lot of speed to go along with the size and everything. I really don't know too much about, Gearhart, except for I believe that they played us and they whooped their tail when he was with Minnesota.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing I saw Storm Johnson was getting a lot of the second-string carries.
Do you think there was a reason behind it, or they were just trying to see if he can handle the load?
I think Storm Johnson might be the backup. I think Todman might be out of luck.
Yeah, you said that before, but once again, Todman's a special teams ace, so I don't know about that.
Yeah, I think he'll be a special teams guy, but I don't think he's going to be a lot in the running back role like he was last year.
I don't know. I read an article the other day about Robinson. They're very happy with him and everything, so that's going to be very interesting.
Yeah. What do you think about Babbitt getting cut?
Here's the thing about that. What in underwear, league, or without the major pads and everything, made them think that Branches is so much better to cut Babin, or what did they see in somebody else that they're going to get rid of Babin?
Well, the rumor is that they're falling in love with Branch. They think he's taking the next step. I got to freaking see it to believe it, because I haven't seen it yet.
I don't know. Branch last year, you got to admit, though, Branch at times did flash. But flashing and doing it consistently are two different things sometimes.
Ever since I've been on this show, I've been bashing Branch, and I'm going to keep doing it until he proves me wrong.
I didn't
like Babin either, because he had some boneheaded penalties. I was cussing him out a couple times last year.
He did have some, boneheaded penalties, and I'll admit that is correct. However, when he was back in Philly, as I mentioned before, when he was back, in Philly, when he had other people to help him out, he was a monster. So I'm just wondering if this is really going to bite them, come back and haunt him or whatnot.
I don't know. I trust the coaching staff. Maybe he just maybe he doesn't have it anymore. Maybe that's just what it is. I mean, you got to think, Philly cut him a couple years ago.
And that's true, but I think Philly cut him account of field issues and his account of, stupidity. I don't think they, cut him due to his lack of play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't, but, man, the year before he got cut, he had that huge season.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I just don't see what they see in Branch that is, so much better. If you're listening right now and you want to join in the action, you're welcome to give us a call at 1-855-403-9071. And add your, input and everything, because, we're all, basically on the same level and everything. So, going back, how was your time out in Jacksonville, and what did you see that's different this year from, past years?
The excitement level. A lot of people. I'll tell you something that was cool is the Jaguars that day, they gave out lunch. They gave out barbecue sandwiches, a bag of chips, sweet tea. They gave it to the season ticket holders. They gave you lunch for coming out there. That's pretty nice. There was a lot of people out there. I met a lot of the players, autographs. I think the Bradley's got the guys really being fan friendly and signing autographs. The only one that really didn't sign anything was Bortles. That's because they were rushing him to the press conference.
All right. Well, were you able to tailgate with the Teal Street hooligans or the Bold City Brigade?
No, there was no tailgating out there.
Probably because the season didn't start yet.
Yeah,
where is my head tonight? Where is my head tonight?
Just walking to the gate.
I'll tell you though, when the season does start, definitely tailgate with them, because they have something that is unheard of. They have like 1,000 people march up to the stadium, where everybody's singing Jags themes and Jags songs, and it's just unbelievable. And everybody's in line, and no one's out of place, and it's just like an entire unity.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it definitely this year. I'm gonna try to get up to the Bold City Brigade every game.
All right, so what you told me, and what we're hearing is Blackmon's currently in rehab, correct?
Yeah, rumor came out that Justin Blackmon is in rehab in Oklahoma. And now people are starting to speculate, which I think is complete bullshit, that that his silence and all this is a bad thing. When to me, I think it's a good thing that he's been silent this whole time, because he's not letting anyone know anything. I mean, even if he's not, I just think him being silent and sticking with his family or whoever he's with, I think he's not doing drugs or not drinking, and I think he's taking care of himself instead of worrying about the team and everything else. But other Jag fans are taking it wrong. I think they're taking it the wrong way, as to he's hiding from the team, so they don't know what he's doing. But they're not. But the Jaguars aren't supposed to have any contact with him anyway.
That makes a lot of sense, and that's a sensible approach. I think he's just trying to, move past, what everybody knew of him. For him to be out, where he's from, and, really concentrating and really getting himself in shape and doing what he needs to do, and not partying, not drinking, not doing any drugs, not doing any of that, and just preparing himself. He's just trying to stay out of the limelight and say, well, hey, he's basically going back to basics and saying, well, now I got to earn it.
Yeah, and another thing that gave me an upside was, a couple months ago, maybe 3-4 months ago, when he blew his tire on 95 in Jacksonville, and he wrecked his Escalade, and the cops came, and they blew him, and he didn't have no alcohol on him. And that was like 2-3 in the morning. So I think that's a good sign that maybe he really is working at this, and he's going to come back hungrier than ever, like he got something to prove.
I'll totally agree there. And the thing was, they made a big deal out of that, too. I was, on the Jungle. I was reading a bunch of posts, and from different people, and they were saying all kinds of things. Well, it's bad that he blew a tire, but what was he doing out at 2-3 in the morning? Last time I checked, people weren't his mother or his father, and he could be out to whatever hours he wants if he's not, scheduled to be with the team. And as long as he's following...
He can't get no pussy? What the hell?
Well, that's one way to put it. All right. You're right, though. You're right. You're right. He can't go, see any of his lady friends or, anything. And I'm sure all his friends party. Maybe he was just being, the designated driver at that point, and just shit happens.
I mean, he blew his tire. That could have happened to anybody.
Exactly. I've blown a tire before. I've blown a tire in the left lane, and that's not fun, trying to get over to the right lane with nothing but traffic.
Yeah, that sucks. Then you got to try to change it, and all them cars are going 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, talk about, NASCAR driving. That's the true form. So let's move back to, this guy, Alan Hearns. What did you see out of him, that could be special?
Alan Hearns, he was getting a lot of first-team reps, and I think for an undrafted free agent, I think that's huge. I mean, because you got to think, all our receivers are young, first, second-year guys. And he knows his playbook because Fish was the OC in Miami. He knows the playbook. And, I mean, he's not the fastest guy, but he can get open, and he doesn't drop anything. I just think him getting all these first-team reps, if he doesn't make the roster, I think he'll at least be on the practice squad this year. But I wouldn't be surprised. He'd be an injury or two away from being on the team.
I wouldn't be surprised either. But do you see him, really he's battling, Mike Brown and, playmakers like that. I mean, he's really not going to, challenge. I mean, do you see him challenging Sanders or, Robinson or Lee or Shorts?
No, I don't think I think the only way he'll challenge them is if they're not as good as, if they come into the league and they're not as good as they were supposed to be. That's the only way out, because they were higher draft picks. They're going to get first chance because they got more money invested in them guys.
Well, I mean, what was the reason he went undrafted, though?
Because I think he ran like, a 4.5, and he's only, 6'1". I think because he just had average speed, average height. He had great hands. And plus the receiving group this year was so loaded. I mean, look who fell to the second round. Lee. I think the receiving core was just so loaded.
I mean, I'm looking at the boards right now, and there's some people that say, he has 4.3 game speed, and he could end up the Jags' best receiver. Is that possible?
I mean, I don't see 4.3 game speed at all, but I've seen him against Florida State last year. He had a huge game against them, and they played a lot of man coverage. He had a big game against them. I mean, he's faster than his 40 time. Good 3-4 years down the road, he could come and be a big time contributor for this team, a number 2 receiver. I think he could.
So you don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon, then?
I wish he would, because he's a Hurricane. But this year, I don't know. It just depends on the injury break, and you see how many receivers are hurt right now, so you never know.
Wow. I'm over here, I'm looking at, the Jungle, because I like to look at, different outlets to get, a different spectrum on things. And, it's saying per Roto-World, the Florida Times Union believes Jaguars' second-year wide receiver Ace Sanders could be on the Rooster bubble.
I saw that, and I think that is complete BS, because even if he doesn't make the receivers, he's going to be our punt returner, regardless. He's going to be on special teams.
Yeah, and of course, the one that started the topic is actually the troll. So for another team, so that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I don't see it either. I don't see it for numerous reasons. One reason I don't see it for is because when they needed a guy to go to last year, Sanders really stepped up his game. when they needed a guy that can play, do different things, Sanders stepped up his game. You know, he's the one that threw the pass over the mojo. I mean, he is just, you know, when they needed a guy to step up, he was the guy. So for him to be on the Rooster bubble right now would not make any sense at all, unless unless they see something wrong with him as far as like his attitude or something. But I haven't seen any character flags or anything.
I've seen no character flags at all. I mean, all I see is a playmaker. That's it.
And I mean, if you're going to, you know, downgrade the dude because he's short, okay, yeah, he's short. But I mean, you gotta think about it like this. Just because he's short doesn't mean anything. I understand that he's a wide receiver, but hello, Barry Sanders wasn't a tall running back. And he's probably, you know, either him or Fred Taylor. You know, it could be discussed for, you know, years and years. You know, who was the better, you know, running back. It depends on, you know, what you've seen and, you know, how much. But just because you're short doesn't necessarily mean anything.
I mean, look at Emmitt Smith was another short guy. I mean, Devin Hester is not tall at all.
Deshaun Jackson's not tall.
There's a lot. Like the dude for the Chargers last year, I forgot he played for Virginia Tech. I forgot his name. He was Phillip Rivers' main target last year. He's not tall. But even if he doesn't make, I think he is a what they can use him on. They got special plays for him, I'm sure. Plus on punt returns, he could take one to the house anytime.
Yeah. Plus he's got the hands that Thomas was supposed to have.
I like Ace Sanders. I think he's a good player. Plus, he threw a touchdown last year.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He threw the touchdown over to, I believe it was over to Mojo.
Yeah, it was the Bills game. No, not the Bills. It was a Thursday night game, the Houston game.
Correct. They totally caught him off guard. It wasn't even funny. You know, moving on. Okay. They're saying that, Bortles is struggling some.
Yeah.
I mean, but I believe that's expected. I don't believe any, player can just run the playbook and just, before the season starts or preseason or whatever, is going to be perfect. I just have never seen a quarterback do that.
No, he's not going to be perfect because he's just learning the offense. You know, Chad Henne's been in this offense a whole year now. So, I mean, he's going to be behind. And I think that's why they said Chad Henne's going to be a starter because he knows the offense. He's got the leadership role with the team already. So that's why I think no matter what, Henne will start the year number one.
And how long? And, we discussed this, last week. But how long are you figuring that Henne's going to run? As long as there's a winning streak up, as long as he's competitive in games, as long as until Bortles is ready. I mean, what are we looking at?
I think if we're winning, 500 and above, I think they stick with Henne. But I think if we fall to, I hate to say it, but like 3-10 or 4-8, something like that, then they got to throw Bortles in there and let them get some practice for next year.
I don't think Jacksonville can afford that. I don't think we can afford that. I don't think they're going to stick with Henne that long if he's, being, terrible and not competitive and the games aren't close. They're not going to stay with him long. They just reinvented, the stadium, putting pools out there and the biggest scoreboard out of the whole,
The pictures of that new scoreboard complete?
Is it complete? I'm not sure.
They got
it's pretty close.
That are complete, and that thing is freaking huge.
But that's what I'm saying. They invented, as far as the stadium. I mean, you even got top notch Wi-Fi up in there too.
Yeah.
There is no way that they're going to show, the world, the new the new Jaguars and everything. And if Henny's stinking it up, stay with him. There's no way. There is no way.
Yeah, that's why I said if we're losing, they're going to put Bortles in there. But if they're winning and they're competitive, I'm above 500 above, they're going to stick with Henny. Like the last 8 games last year, we were in every game. So that's what gives me confidence.
Yeah, but why were we, in every game? And you got to remember, 2 of them were Houston, and some people were saying that Houston was trying to tank, or they just didn't have a quarterback, or what. They had so many problems over there.
But you got to think the Arizona game. We were in the Arizona game, and they were a 10-win team. The Buffalo game, we should have won the Buffalo game. In Tennessee, we beat. Who else did we beat? I think that's it.
And we swept the division champs from the previous year. So that means something, even though to some people that means nothing. All right, we have somebody that joined us. Would you like to speak? Is there anything you want to talk about, Jaguars? No? Okay.
Who's on?
We have somebody from Baccarat in Florida. They just might be listening. All right, so there's still a ways, away to go. I mean, there hasn't even been any, major cuts. Who could you see as a surprise cut this year?
Surprise cut? I think Babin was already one.
Well, some people were saying even last year, that could happen. But what I mean by a surprise, like never in a million years would it happen, and then it happens.
I don't see any.
I would say if Sanders was cut or traded, that would be a surprise for me. If Shorts was on the market, that would be a surprise.
Man, Shorts, I told you they need to trade Shorts. We need to get rid of him. We got too many young receivers that can step up.
You just don't like the fact that Shorts was a Gene Smith pick.
No, I think he's got second and third round pick value to him, and with Lee, Robinson, Hearns, I think they can step up and take his role.
And then you have Sanders, Blackmon, you have Brown, you have the guy that grabbed from Doss.
I think he's gonna get cut. I think he's gone. I don't think he's gonna make team.
You don't think he makes the team?
Because you got to think, him it's going to be, right now what they say, him, Brown, and Hearns are fighting for that spot.
Okay.
I just don't think Dawson going to make the team. I watched him in the Ravens, and he was not that good to me.
You know what, though? Here's the deal. I kind of like Brown. I really do. I mean, he seems like there were times last year where he did flash and he did make, tough plays.
Yeah, but I got to stick to my Hurricane roots. So.
I totally understand where you're coming from. I totally do. And anybody that goes undrafted, if they can make the team, and especially play with the top guys, that's saying something. I mean, if you look at Houston, Foster was undrafted, and then look at him now.
Yeah, he's a beast if he's healthy.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Well, you got to think. Remember the injuries we had at receiver last year? Why Mike Brown got a chance to play? That suspension.
Well, you have a point, but it seems like there's an injury bug every single year. With us for some odd reason. It doesn't matter. We can change.
Got hurt. I was like, damn.
That's what worries me with Shorts is his concussions. I'll say it again and again.
Groin, it's always something with him. Let's trade him to Cleveland. So I'm sure that's where he's from. They need a receiver. Let's trade him to Cleveland. Get one of their draft picks. They're going to suck anyways. And we'll get a nice high pick in the second or third round.
But right now, he's your best wide receiver until they prove otherwise.
I don't care. I roll the dice.
So you're going to roll the dice with two rookies, a second-year player.
I'm banking on Blackmon coming back. If Blackmon comes back, he's a top 5 receiver in this league.
Well, if Blackmon comes back, and he's reinstated this year, but I believe even if he's reinstated this year, he's probably not going to play most of the season.
Well, even if he comes back the last 8 games, I'm hoping he only gets 8 games. What I'm hoping.
I mean, I'm hoping he gets nothing, and they say, well, hey, time served, but that's not going to happen.
No, not with Godell. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, well, that's the new NFL, and the new NFL, for some odd reason, unless you're a goody two-shoes, a choir boy or whatever, or a top-notch quarterback, you're not winning with him at all. Like if you're Brady or Manning or anybody of that sort, you're in good terms, as far as Goodell and whatnot. But if you're
look at Blackmon, all he had was some marijuana and some alcohol. I mean, it wasn't like he was snorting coke or nothing like that.
Well, I mean, you could go all the way back, and that's not to bash on a dude, but I mean, think about it. If you're Brady, if you're Manning or anything of that sort, you'll get a flag every time. How many times did David Garrard get hit, and there was never a flag?
He wasn't a big name quarterback.
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, how many times, have any of our quarterbacks got hit and there's not a flag? It doesn't matter how late it is. It doesn't matter where it's at. The majority of times, we don't get called flags at all.
I mean, do you think Bortles is going to be that guy? Is he going to be the Big Ben, the Peyton Manning? Is he going to be that guy? That's the thing.
It looks like he could be that guy. I mean, we have to see him throw first. We have to see him in games and see how he responds. College is one thing, but when you're in the pros, everybody's faster, stronger, tougher, wiser. It's not like college. And as far as like the guy, I absolutely love the guy. The fact that he went over to, the BCB and took a picture with them, he didn't have to. He wanted to. The fact that he's, doing a lot of stuff that he didn't have to, shows, his fortitude. He didn't have to be, the combine doing anything, and he did. Everybody else stayed back. He said, no, I'm going to play.
Yeah, but Manziel, I wanted Manziel. I'm not going to lie to you.
But did you want the crowd that follows Manziel?
I think he would have brought an energy level that Jacksonville needed. I mean, I think this draft class as a whole brought it, but I think Manziel by himself would have brought it even more.
Yeah, but
we would have got more national attention, I think, if we would have got Manziel. But
yeah,
then I also understood why they didn't take him and why they took Bortles.
I'll explain why. Real simple.
Well, let me ask you a question real fast. They said there was a trade with Atlanta to drop back to 6. Would you have rolled the dice and traded back to 6, got some more picks, and then hope that Bortles would have fell to 6?
He wouldn't have fell to 6.
Who would have took him?
Yeah, I honestly think Cleveland would have took him. The reason is, I mean, if you looked at many, mock drafts, like if you went on Walter Football, and looked at their mock draft, there were a lot of rumors that said Bortles was going to go to Houston. Now, if Houston...
They had 2 cards in, one with Clowney's name and one with his name on it.
There is no way.
When they first picked Bortles, were you happy? Were you excited?
I didn't know much about the dude, to be honest.
I'm not gonna lie. I was like, "What the hell?" I was not excited at first. Matter of fact, when I was at rookie camp, I heard the fans that were at the draft party. They said when he first got drafted, a lot of the fans were booing.
You know, because, and I know why, because, you know, Manziel brings the same, you know, excitement that, you know, Timmy brought. And I understand that. However,
I think a lot of fans wanted, what's his name, the kid from Buffalo. Went to the Raiders. I think a lot of fans wanted him on the defensive side. Mac.
What, as our Leo?
Yeah, I think that's what they wanted.
Yeah, but then again, a lot of people wanted
Sammy Watkins. I thought they were going to take Sammy Watkins and then trade back into the first round and get Teddy Bridgewater. That's what I thought they were going to do.
They easily could have done that as well. But as far as, you know, the fans wanting, you know, the elite pass rusher, I understand. I totally understand. They wanted, I'm not thinking of his name right. Deion Jordan last year.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people were huge on that. They're like, that's who they wanted, Deion Jordan. But look at Deion Jordan now.
He didn't even play last year.
That's what I'm saying. That would have been a waste.
So you said this last week. You would trade for Deion Jordan, right? Would you say you give up a third for him?
I would trade for Deion Jordan if he's healthy, and because we need a, you know, dominant, you know, pass rusher as far as the Leo. And from everything that I'm hearing, he would be the perfect Leo. Now, did I want Mac? Yes, I did. But Jed Fish, you know, said it best. It's a quarterback league. If it's a quarterback league and you don't have a quarterback, well, then you're pretty much screwed. And I truly believe that. Because think about it. Think about when we had a top 5 defense, okay? And Mojo was won the rushing record, correct?
Yeah,
what was our record then?
He won the rushing title that year.
And our record was terrible. Absolutely terrible. So with a defense and a running back alone will not get the job done. That's what that told me. You need a quarterback. You have to put points on the board.
I mean, the Ravens won with Trent Dilfer. The Bucks were on with Brad Johnson.
Yeah, but how long ago was this?
What, early 2000s?
That's what I'm saying,
how about Joe Flacco? You consider him as a top quarterback?
Do I consider Flacco? If he has the right tools around him, yeah.
Yeah, man, I don't know. About
but he has to have, the right tools around him. Bottom line, you need a quarterback. You're not one player away. I think that's why they did it. If you look, in past drafts, remember, we were told that, hey, we're one major player away and we're gonna go somewhere. So we drafted Harvey. How'd that turn out?
He's a Gator. He's a bust.
Hey! Just because he's a Gator, that's not the point I'm trying to make here.
Almost all the Gators we get are bust. Starting with, like I said last week, that safety we had, Reggie Nelson, bust.
I don't know. He looked to do better, where he was than when he was on Jacksonville.
Yeah, he's better. Yeah, for Cincinnati he's playing better, but at Jacksonville he was good as crap. Matter of fact, because he played with my buddy in junior college, so I already knew about him. So I was like, all right, but he didn't turn out to be anything for us. for a Jag.
I'm sorry, I cannot say all Gators are a bust. Hello, TaylorMade, and
I said all except one.
Well, I would take Percy Harvin in a heartbeat.
He'll be hurt week 2.
You just a hater, man.
I'll take Andre Johnson.
You just a hater.
I'll take Reggie Wayne.
No, I'm understanding what you're saying, but I mean, it's not necessarily what college he came from. That's the point I'm trying to come at. If we were one player away and we had a quarterback, yeah, it's Mac all day. Or even, trade up and grab Clowney. But we're not. And
I mean, that's what the Falcons did a couple years ago when they traded all their picks to get Julio Jones.
Yeah, but they had a quarterback.
Yeah, I know. But now them picks are starting to hurt them because now their depth on defense is hurting because they gave up all them picks.
And that's what happens sometimes. You take a gamble and you lose. Like I'm sure Indy wants back their first round draft pick.
I'm glad they made that trade.
I knew that everybody's like, well, no, Indy made the good. No, they didn't.
They didn't, because they could have got a better running back in the second or third round of the draft this year.
They could have had Blunt. Didn't Blunt go undrafted? I believe
a lot of running backs.
I believe LeGarrette Blunt went undrafted, and then he beat the crap out of him.
Blunt's still a free agent.
But that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. No, LeGarrette Blunt for a while he was on New England.
Yeah, he played for Tampa Bay before that.
But when he was on New England last year in the playoff game, he whooped their tail. Wasn't even funny. You thought it was going to be the Tom Brady show, and it wasn't.
He was another undrafted free agent.
That's what I'm saying. So why are you going to trade, your first-round draft pick? That makes no sense. I don't know what they were thinking.
The owner was half buzzed.
He must have been fully cocked. That was just... It really made me shake my head. I'm like, what are you doing?
Hey, you got to be happy about that pick, that draft.
I mean, he could turn around, and this year and light it up for Indy. I highly doubt it.
I doubt it. He's terrible. He's a bust.
I still think that Luck is overrated, but that's just me. But I've said that from the get-go.
I don't think he's overrated.
I personally,
in Jacksonville right now, would you rather have Luck or Bortles?
Bortles.
Come on now.
Why wouldn't I take Luck? I'll explain. I explained this last week. I'm going to tell you again. Luck, when he was in college, had nothing but a top line. Nothing but a top. Think about it. His offensive line either were first round draft picks or second round. Come on now.
Yeah, you can say that about Alabama though. If you say about Alabama players, their whole line, all their offensive linemen are first round picks. But then maybe that's why the running backs suck in the NFL.
There you go. There you go. But I have a lot of faith in Bortles. Now that, I've actually, seen some of his tape and, I've watched his interviews and everything. He seems very confident. He seems very poised. And to go back to the, Johnny comment that you had. All right, here's the deal. You're cooking hot dogs, okay? Now, you could, the poor man's way, you could put them in a napkin, wrap them around, and shove them in a microwave. But even if you shove them in a microwave, that will be the easy fix. But if you boil them, they'll taste a lot better. It will take longer, but the end result will be a lot better.
I don't know. I'm going with Bortles now. That's who they pick. That's what I'm going to roll with. So, but I would really like to be rocking the number 2 jersey right now.
And I understand that. And I've said, with Jacksonville's line, they need a running quarterback. And Manziel is exactly that. The other problem I had with Johnny, okay, it seemed like his wide receiver was bailing him out a lot of times. I've watched a bunch of videos, and that's exactly what it showed. He ducked out of pressure for no apparent reason, and he bought himself time for no apparent reason when he had wide open receivers. Made no sense to me.
But see, a lot of times on third down, he forced stuff because that defense was so terrible that even if he didn't try to make a play, they're going to give up a touchdown anyways. That's probably the worst defense in college football last year.
Well, regardless, I mean, I would have took Mike before I would have took Sammy, but that's just me.
You would have took Evans over Sammy?
Sure would have.
Man, I don't know. I want to Watkins. I thought Watkins was a beast.
You know why, though? And I'm going to explain why. Because he's a perfect fit for Jacksonville. That's why. When it comes to the red zone, we have problems scoring. Okay? You need a big red zone target. Now, if you have, Evans back there.
Lewis.
Yeah, but when's Lewis healthy?
Never.
When is he healthy? I mean, exactly. If you have, Evans back there, you got a guy with dynamite hands that can go up for the ball and be a huge red zone target. Jacksonville doesn't have that. Unless you think Robinson can be that.
Robinson's he's about 6'3". He's not like Mike Evans is big. He's like, what, 6'5", 6'6"?
Correct. Evans is a big boy. Plus he can jump like a madman. Plus he can get open in traffic. I mean, think about it. Nobody, thought that, Megatron when he came out was going to be, the dominant, number one. Or some people are saying he's as good as, top 10 all time. The fact that he can get in traffic and still make plays with no problem.
He's just freakish athletic for his size. He's like LeBron James.
Okay, but isn't, I mean, wouldn't Evans, fall in that category? I understand he doesn't have the speed, that Megatron has, or CJ. I realize that. But think about it. Jerry Rice wasn't fast. But when it came for knack of, getting open, there was none better.
Yeah.
So I think Evans would have worked perfect in Jacksonville. But even if you drafted Evans, you have no quarterback. And then you got to hope that Bridgewater is there, and you got to hope that Bridgewater can play in the NFL. Bridgewater screwed himself by, not having his gloves on and having such a shitty pro day. He really screwed himself.
Somebody call in?
No, that's the same caller as before. That's probably not going to answer, so I'm just going to leave it be. They're just listening.
I think so. Talk.
Yes, it's Alan Hearn's mom. I'm just listening in on the conversation.
All right.
How you doing, Ms. Hearns? Or Ms. Wilson?
I'm okay, and you?
Oh, I'm good. What's it like having your son in the NFL?
It's a blessing.
How's Jacksonville different from Miami?
Well, it's a totally different level. That's what the thing is. It's college and NFL.
Yeah, they're. I do apologize. Go ahead.
No, I'm just glad that he got an opportunity. I know if the opportunity was given to him, that he'll take off with it.
Well, I'm rooting for him. Full speed ahead, Hurricane.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, anybody, undrafted, hey, I'm all for it. To me, it shows has heart and the determination. Even though didn't get there the first go around, is saying, okay, now I'm going to play with a chip on my shoulder and show everybody why you thought I wasn't the man, but I am in fact the man.
Exactly.
Well, we appreciate you joining us on Teal Time.
Well, thank you for having me.
Not a problem. You're welcome, to join us, anytime, and you can continue to listen on if you choose to.
All right, thank you.
I hope to see you at the next training camp.
Oh, most definitely.
Where were you at the last one? I was looking for you.
Oh, I had just made a move, and I wasn't able to make it. But I'll see Alan on tomorrow, so he'll be here tomorrow. And we'll catch up then, and I'll have all the dates where I can make necessary arrangements beforehand.
But do they work out every day now for the next 5 weeks or however many weeks it is?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Like, what do they work out, like 8 to 12? Is it like an all-day?
Hey, amen. Come on now. We appreciate you on the show, and definitely if he can ever come on, we'd love to have him. I don't care what time, what day, just let us know and we'll make it happen.
Okay, not a problem.
But is there anything else you wanted to say, Miss Wilson?
I'm just glad he has an opportunity. And he was blessed with one, and I know he's going to make the most of it.
Okay, and what do you think about Jacksonville?
I love Jacksonville. I love Coach Bradley, and I definitely love Coach Fish.
I think he's the next, Inspector Gadget as far as, like, offensive coordinators. He's just very, talented in how he can, get his, guys out there in different positions and make plays and do things. I think he's trying to bring the college game to the NFL.
Yeah, because Allen ran that same playbook in college, so.
Who recruited Allen, Whipple or Fish?
I'm sorry?
Who recruited Allen, Whipple or Fish?
Oh, it's Whipple.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So you said you're enjoying, the time in Jacksonville, and it is a beautiful city. I'll agree. 1 million people, and you never have a traffic jam. I absolutely love that. I lived out in Jacksonville for a little while. It's a gorgeous city.
Yes, it is. I just don't like the bridges.
You know what? I was coming, never been to Florida before, and I was going to Jacksonville, and then I see the bridge to get into Florida, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah. Here I am. I'm afraid of heights trying to go up the bridge. I'm like, should I stop and pull over?
No, same with me.
Go to St. Pete. Go over the Skyway Bridge.
No, I would never travel that bridge again. If I don't have to. Never.
Yeah, I don't like the bridge going into Florida. I don't like it at all. It's too high. It's like, oh, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
But of course, when I go to the Jags games, the games that I can make this year, I'm gonna go over the bridge and be like, all right, let's go Jags.
Okay.
So anyway, Bo, why don't you lead us into what else you want to talk about?
I pretty much talked about everything tonight.
Well, you talked about everything tonight. All right.
It's been going on the last week.
All right. So what are you predicting this year, realistically, for the Jags?
You already know. 9 wins.
You're out of your mind.
No, I'm not.
You think that we're going to get 9 wins this year?
We're going to get 9 wins. Put your Jag shades on.
So
on the ride, because we're about to do something.
So we're going to go 9-7 and possibly make a wild card. Is that correct?
That's what I want to see this year.
All right. Well then, let's throw Bortles in week 1 because that's not going to happen with Cheney.
What's your prediction? 6 wins?
Maybe 7. I mean, you still have to remember who you have at quarterback. I mean, if he takes forever to throw the ball, I mean, how are you going to score that way? I mean,
come on, you can't be negative. Come on,
I'm not trying. I'm not. There's a difference of being negative and there's a difference of being realistic. I'm not saying that we're going to go 0-16, and I'm not saying we're going to have 2 wins, and I'm not saying we're going to have, 4 wins. I think that, some of the losses we have are going to be very tight games. But, following, Chad Henne from Michigan days, I just don't see it unless he, turns over a new leaf. If he starts blowing out teams, yeah, you know what, 9 games, 11 games, I'll even say 12 games. But I don't see that happening.
I'm telling you. That's the worst. We're going to win 7. That's the worst. I mean, you're playing the NFC East. I don't think them teams are all that difficult. I think 3-3 in the division is highly possible. The AFC North with the Browns
against
Steelers.
both Clowney and Watt.
Yeah, but what quarterback do they got?
Yeah, you're right. You're right there. But if it ends up a close game, I don't.
Well, you know how to stop that pass rush? Run the football. And if we can get 3, 4, 5 yards of carry,
okay,
then that's when you can play action off it.
Okay, all right, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I'll agree with you as far as Tennessee, and I'll say as far as Indy, yeah, we could split it, as long as Indy don't play like last time went to Everbank and seen Indy destroy us.
That was a terrible game. But I mean, how about the Redskins, Eagles, Cowboys, Giants? You think we go 2-2 out of that division?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe 3-1.
Yeah, it's possible, but I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Last year you had Denver, and that was an L.
Okay.
Last year we had a lot of guarantee L's. This year there's no guarantee L on there. Maybe I'll give the Bengals. Maybe the Bengals might be a guaranteed L if they're healthy.
But we haven't played good overseas yet. That's the issue right there. It's not that the Cowboys are so much better than us. It's just we have not played good at all overseas.
I mean, then we got to travel to San Diego. I don't think we'll win that game on the road.
But as long as we can, keep up with Indy, we can win a game. We definitely could win a game in, Tennessee. We may even, sweep them. But Houston, even with no quarterback, they got a very dominant D-line right now. Very dominant. And there's no, denying that. And I hate to say that because I do not care for, the Texans at all. But you cannot deny both Clowney and Watt coming at you with Henne as the quarterback.
Yeah, but they got Clowney playing outside linebacker now.
Yeah, but still he's going to... We're talking about Clowney here. We're talking about a guy that's, going to prove, show that he has something to prove.
He's got to prove it to me because I don't know about that work ethic he's got.
Well, we will definitely see as far as that. I just don't see nine wins. I just don't. I mean, I'd love to, put my teal shades on and be like, all right, yeah, we're going to win 12. No problem. But realistically,
I don't see that many.
And talking
9, maybe 10.
And talking as an actual, not as a fan, but as an actual host of a show, and in general, I don't see it. I do not see it unless we can. The bottom line is we have to be able to score. If you can't score, you're not going to win many games.
Yeah, but you got to think that defense we got. Last year, we couldn't stop the run at all. This year, we're going to be able to stop the run.
All right, but are you going to put up 28, 35 points against Philly?
Yeah, but Philly lost their deep threat.
Okay, but you still got Macklin, and you still...
you got Macklin and you got Sproles.
I mean, so...
I think that's the best week to play them is week 1 because they're not going to be, in their best, best form.
Okay, but are you going to put up 35 against New York? I mean, are you going to put 35 up against...
the Giants. You got to think the Eagles' defense isn't good. Their secondary was horrendous last year. The Giants, we're going to get 2 or 3 picks from Eli.
But once again, the point I'm trying to say is you have to be able to score. And running alone is not going to do it. We've already proved this years ago.
Man, I'm telling you, Chad Henne's going to have a good year this year. I'm telling you.
Well, I mean, if he does, then, more power to him. If he starts winning games, hey, I'm on the Chad Henne bandwagon. I will say that. I am on the Chad Henne bandwagon if he starts winning. If he does not start winning, I am not on that bandwagon. I'm just not.
I like Chad Henne.
I say if you draft a guy, number 3, you need to play the guy you drafted at number 3. This whole waiting and it's going to ruin the quarterback is a bunch of bull. Because if the quarterback's trash to begin with, then he's going to be trash in the NFL. If the quarterback's good to begin with, yeah, he'll have some, growing pains, but he'll learn and he'll be ready for year 2. Now, if you sit him the majority of the year, is he going to be ready year 2? If this is your future, is he going to be ready? That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
We are not a win. We are not a win now team.
He had a good year, but just that senior year, they didn't do what they were supposed to do at Michigan.
Okay, but if Chad Henne wins 13 games, well, then you're going to have to play Chad Henne next year. Now you got a guy number 3 that's sitting back 2 years. Okay, that's fine. If you want to go, the Brett Favre, if you want to put, Chad Henne in the same thing as Brett Favre, okay, that's fine. If you want to put him in the same, thing as the Joe Montana, Steve Young, that's fine. But Chad Henne is not Brett Favre, and he's not Montana. And that will not happen. It's just not going to happen, man. I say start the young guy. And I mean, if not now, start him mid-season. You cannot wait to the end of the season to start him.
He didn't come in starting right away. He came in and started, midway through his first year?
Yeah, but the guy that they had there wasn't that bad, though.
Yeah, but the guy got hurt.
Yeah, but I believe
Chad Henne is not that bad. You didn't watch the last half of last year?
No, I watch every game.
4-4.
I have watched every game since the beginning, one way or another.
Games. I watched the first 8 games of the year, and it was rough.
Well, that's because they were playing, playoff-bound teams. And then the second half, they weren't playing playoff-bound teams.
That good, so that caught me by surprise.
But my point is, you have to be able to score in order to win. And if Chad Henne does not show that he can score, then he should not be the starting quarterback. I don't care what you paid him. I don't care if he just resigned. He shouldn't. And it should go all the Bortles. Give the dude a chance. And if he does show it, well, then I'll just sit back and shut up.
And what if you put Bortles in there? He starts failing, not playing good, and his confidence level drops so low. He'll never come back again.
In the NFL, money alone should be your confidence level. If you're getting paid the big bucks, you need to perform. If I'm working a normal job and I get a raise and I get a promotion to a different, if I'm the assistant chef and I get promoted to the main chef, I better be able to perform like the main chef day one. Even if I stumble and, mess up a little, that's why I got paid. And that's just the bottom line. That's what I feel. If you're getting paid the money, you should be able to do the job. Otherwise, why are you there? I mean, like I said, if it's trash to begin with, it will end up trash. But people, talk about Blaine, and I understand why they talk about Blaine. But you also have to realize, what did he have for a line? He had a line that was based on a running game, was not built about the pass in any way, shape, or form, and then he had no wide receivers to work with.
But Chad Henne had that same line and same receivers.
And did he really do that much better?
I thought he did a heck of a lot better.
I don't think so.
But you gotta remember, every game Gabbert started last year, he threw a pick six. From the Chiefs game to the Rams game, pick six. In the Rams game, we should have won that game.
I mean, you could say that. I mean, you could say that. But I'm not going to compare Bortles to, Gabbert. They're totally different style quarterbacks to begin with. I just don't see the fan base.
Rushing in there. But at the same time, I feel like if you're a top 5 pick, you should be good enough to get in there and play right now because they're giving you a lot of money.
Let me put it this way: if the Jags drafted Manziel, hypothetically, your boy, right?
Yeah.
Would you want Manziel to sit on the bench with Chad Henne?
Yeah, Henne.
You'd stick with Henne even if they drafted Manziel, even though you just glamored and had a.
I want Manziel out there.
Run that by me again. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't want Manziel to play.
You would not want him to play.
No, I would want him to play.
Okay.
I want Manziel out there.
You'd want Manziel. Then why wouldn't you want Bortles out there?
I don't know. I just don't think Bortles is a playmaker like that. I think Bortles is more of. I think Manziel is more of a guy that can come in and win the first 2-3 years of his career. But I don't think it's 10, 12 years down the road, his potential isn't there.
Nah, I totally disagree. I think if you put Manziel with a actual wide receiver, which he doesn't have one right now, but if he did, let's say Gordon was not suspended, and let's just say he was sitting there, and okay, great, he's going to have a wonderful first year because they don't know how to play him. They don't know how to, adapt to his style. Hence, Timmy T. They did not know how to play him. They did not know how to adapt to his style. That is why, part of the reason why he, had all them wins that first year. He went to other teams. He didn't do anything.
And you got to think, RG3's offensive coordinator is with Johnny Manziel.
I mean, I understand that. But, all right, here we go. CJ, Chris Johnson, okay?
Yeah.
When he first came into the league, untouchable. What do he have, over 1,000 yards first year? Untouchable. Then they learned how to prepare for him. Hasn't done shit since.
Well, he lost a step, too. He's not as fast. I don't think he's not as fast as he was.
Well, the second year, there's no way he lost a step. Come on now.
I mean, he had a 2,000-yard season at one time.
But that's what I'm saying. He had like a huge, season, and then he just dropped off. Why? Because they learned how to defend against him.
He got that big contract and fell off.
I don't think it's due to the contract. I think it's just for people to say that a player will not play because they got the money. That's very. I don't believe that. I don't think that has anything to do with anything.
Every time they get a big time deal, maybe it's maybe it's bad luck or what. They just don't perform anymore.
I think it's just people found a way to stop him, just like they did with Timmy T.
Do you think Mojo still has gas in the tank for Oakland or what?
No. But I think he'll have plenty of opportunities because he's with the other dynamite running back, providing that he's not injured. I don't see.
Were you for Tim Tebow coming to Jacksonville or against it a couple years ago?
Both. I was for it in the sense of, and I'm not even going to say ticket sales, and I'm not even going to say marketing. I was for it in the sense of we had nothing there. We had nothing there. Oh, yeah, all right, let's take a chance on him. I was against it because of the crowd that would follow him. When we had Matt Jones, we had all them people from Arkansas that made him, turn into God, and there was nothing God-like about him. And that's the same thing, with Timmy T. I mean, when he was in college, he was great, but he was also surrounded by great talent. I mean, you could say the same thing about Sanchez. When Sanchez was in college, he was, sensational. But then when he went, and then even when he went to, the Jets, he did get him in the playoffs. Whether, Indy threw a game or not, he still won the game.
Yeah, but Indy blew that game.
Well, and I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that Indy didn't rest their starters, and that's why they didn't, they got in.
But what did the Jets have? They had a good running game and a great defense that year.
I just don't. As much as Johnny brings excitement, and as much as he brings, stuff like that, I just don't see it. I didn't see it with, Timmy. And, I mean, you can – it's just like in baseball. In baseball, there's this, dynamite pitcher. The first year, fantastic. He strikes everybody out. The next year, once they figure out how to hit on him, the dude's done. He's no longer dynamite. And, some people say that's a flash in the pan. Could Manziel end up, as good as Wilson? Possibly.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's Cleveland's defense. They got a top defense. They got no receiver.
So who's he going to throw to? The water boy?
Miles Austin is hurt hamstring.
I will say Austin, though. Austin is pretty good.
Yeah, but he's always hurt.
Well, that's what I was also going to say.
I will never sign a Cowboy receiver again after what's his name.
If it weren't for the Cowboys receiver,
well, that's Jimmy Smith.
We wouldn't have a good.
What the hell was his name a couple years ago? Oh my God, what a bust!
Austin really ain't that bad though. But I mean, Austin. Is that really going to be the same face for Manziel? I think Manziel is actually, with Gordon out, is really getting screwed. And, you know, that's all I got to say about that, man. I mean, I'd rather have something down the line that's going to work than something that will work today and tomorrow be a waste of your money or a waste of my money.
So I got a question for you.
All right, go ahead, shoot.
People buying Blake Bortles jerseys. He's not even going to start. Why are people buying his jersey?
Because he is going to start. Why would he not start? He's number 3.
Why would I want to buy a number 5 jersey for a guy that's not even going to play next year?
Hey, hello, Blaine Gabbert, David Garrard. David Garrard's going to be the starter. David Garrard is definitely starting. No doubt about it. David Garrard will start.
Who was the GM that year, though?
It don't matter.
Man, I'm not. I've been contemplating it. I'm not buying that jersey. If he's not playing, I'm not buying it.
He's going to be playing sometime this year.
What do you want to bet on this?
What do I want to bet on this? What do you want to bet?
I don't know. Hat, anything. Make a little friendly wager that he will not play unless injury.
That Bortles will not play all season unless injury.
He won't start a game unless injury.
Sure, I'll take a brand new hat. I'll bet you that. And I don't mind giving you, if I lose, I don't mind going, on NFL, .com and, NFLshop.com and, buying your hat. That's not a problem at all. I'll do that all day and twice on Sunday. I'm sure we got a bunch of witnesses, if I could say the word right, that are hearing this. We're betting. I'll take that bet all day. Bortles will start at some point. Matter of fact, he should start at, the beginning of the year. But you said that he will not start unless Henny's injured. So you're on.
That's it.
You're on, because that's bull. That's bull, because if they go 0-6 and they don't start Bortles, they're fools.
I told you 9 wins.
You got to win 1 before you get to 9, buddy. All right, well, this is Ray Ray.
This is Bo.
All right, join us next Monday. We'll probably have a more impactful, show for you and whatnot. Due to, some issues today, we weren't even sure if this show was going to go on, but it had to go on anyway, and we're glad that it did. We're glad that we got to speak with Miss Wilson and everything, and hopefully, we can get some Jags players. If anybody, is in contact with any Jags players or coaches or anybody that, hey, want to put them on the show, hey, we're on every Monday night at 10:15 p.m. We had a bit of a late start today. It won't happen again. But also check out, Thursday night. I'm not sure if it's going to be 8 or 9 p.m. for the Miami, Canes fans. Why don't you tell them about the brand new show coming?
Oh, yeah, I know it's going to be on Thursday nights, 8 or 9 p.m. We haven't came up with a time yet. It will be Cane Shades Radio, and if you watch my YouTube videos, you know about the Cane Shades, and it is going to be prime time and ready to go down for them, all about the youth.
And just a disclaimer, whatever they say or whatever done, don't hold it against Two Local Radio or, the station in general, because I can't control other people, and that's just how it is. Each its own. All right. Is there any last words, Mr. Bo?
Go Jags, as always. Put your teal shades on.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go 16-0, but we're not doing it with Hetty. All right. Everybody have a good night.